in its most common form, can result in an inferno which has the potential to cause physical damage through burning, and its negative effects include hazard to life and property, atmospheric pollution, and water contamination. In view of this, the Ogun State Fire and Safety Services embarked on sensitization programs to ministries, departments, and agencies of government in the state on fire and precautionary safety measures at preventing fire outbreak both at workplace and home. Ministry of Information and Strategy was the first point of call for the training and demonstration of the fire prevention strategies by the team. This was held at the Governor's Office Press Center, NTA Abeokuta. In his welcome address, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Information and Strategy, Alhaji Waheed Adeshina, said a lot of havoc is being caused by fire outbreak and that the sensitization couldn't have come at a better time.
At different times, we must have heard of fire incidents, fire outbreak, inferno, whatever you may wish to call it. But the incident itself is as old as human race itself. And I dare say that no week passes without we having the media having one story or the other about fire incidents, be it locally or internationally. It shows that it's an event or it's an incident that has come to stay with us, even though it has caused a lot of havoc. Several lives and property, worth millions, have been lost to this unwanted guest. And I think this is why the Office of the Head of Service has deemed it fit that we should be properly educated on ways of preventing fire outbreaks. Of course, fire outbreaks mostly is caused by human factor, probably due to our carelessness, and rarely by natural factors. And the fact that human factor is prevalent in the causes of fire outbreak makes it more important why we should have this sensitization program.
In a speech, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Dr. Rotimi Olu Akindesi, said fire and safety services goes beyond extinguishing fire, but it encompasses all forms of lives and property safety.
What the Fire Safety Agency does is not only about just going to fight fire. Just on Monday, the Director of Fire was telling us at a technical meeting on Monday that a young boy, 2 years or so, fell into a borehole. You know, it is this firemen that will go down there and bring the tank out. So it's beyond fire. It's everything that has to do with safety. And we feel that we need to go out there and let everyone know what the havoc fire can do, and not only that, how do we prevent it? Prevention is better than cure. And you know what our Excellency, the Governor of our state, is doing. Already we have 4 new fire stations, one at Agbara, one at Mowe, Isheri, and one at Ifo, apart from the old ones that we already, we had in a long while. It tells you that the Governor is committed in revitalizing the fire safety services in the state. And I can tell you that still more things to be done. So why are we doing this? Suddenly, you are cooking and there's fire. Most times, we don't even know what to do. At times, we find out that it's not water you should use. So, at times, it is not water. So you need to know what to do to fight what kind of fire. And at times, it's not even until the fire starts. You need to know what to do to prevent fire from breaking out. And this is the message we want to pass around.
Speaking on the topic, fire preparedness and evacuation procedure, The Director of Fire and Safety Services, Engineer Fatai Adefala, enumerated what fire is all about.
We all know fire as a source of warmth, light and power, but it's also one of our greatest dangers. Every year, hundreds of people die in fire. Millions of naira worth of goods and buildings are destroyed, and people put out of work. Incidents of fire outbreak in the world today generally are one of the fatalities that are making this wish a mirage for several people. Many of these fire outbreaks, as we are all aware, have resulted into the death of hundreds of thousands of people in violent twists, sending large number of people to their untimely graves, while turning so many women to premature widows, as well as converting so many married men to widowers and uncountable numbers of children to orphans. Occurrences of accidents at schools and at place of work are part of life. The goal of this session is to minimize such occurrence by providing preventive measures or tips in case of fire outbreak or other accident occurrence. Most victims of accidents are lost to the occurrence just because people at the accident scene are ignorant of what to do to assist such victims. Apart from the domestic usage of fire, fire has been a useful element to human beings since time immemorial. It has been used in agriculture, that is, for clearing lands, for cooking, generating heat and light, for mining, burning of waste, cremation, and as a weapon or mode of destruction. As such, fire is a good friend when it is under human control. The main starting of a match is such an everyday occurrence that the fact of fire is taken for granted. Yet, an understanding of what fire is, how it originated and behaves, is the key of controlling it, and to the intelligence handling of many flammable materials and stations.
Adefala said there are different classes of fire accidents as well as different types of fire extinguisher that works with each classes of fire accidents.
We have types of fire. We have Class A, Class B, Class C, Class D, Class E, Class K. All these classes, they have what it implies, what it takes. Class A, let's say, for free burning materials. That is wood, paper, textiles, rubber, furnitures. Class B, flammable liquid like petrol, paraffin, diesel, kerosene. Class C is gas. The LPG, the gas we use at home, that's Class C. Class D, they are metals. Metals as the car we drive, the companies, all these ACs. Class E, they are electric fires. And Class F, they are cooking oil, they are kitchen fires. Class A, the next slide, all these things now have, before you can extinguish all these things, we use mix of extinguishers. And we have various types of fire extinguisher. Fire extinguisher is an active fire protection device used to extinguish small fire, often in emergency situations. But small fire, you can really use fire extinguisher to extinguish small fire. This is a fire extinguisher, and we normally see it in the corridors of our ministries. Some people will just pass, they'll say, "What is this?" Assuming it's money, they would have not carry it. But since it's not money, but since it is not, they don't know what it is. They will just pass and they just go. But it's a lifesaver. In most cars, we have it in our cars. Now, Class A fire, we call it free burning materials. What are the things you use to extinguishers, it is water, because it is wood, clothes, textiles, furniture. You use water fire extinguishers. You can also use CO2, but in a confined space. Because CO2 is like carbon dioxide, it's oxygen. For class C, we have gas. We use CO2. But gas, you know, when gas starts, maybe there's a leakage, you just started pursuing the odor. You start pursuing the odor. But once if there's no fire, it will not ignite. In sense of that, when you see that there's a gas in your house, the first thing I'm going to do is that just open the windows. Let's escape. Now, start tracing it. If it might be the edge of the burner that is not good, what are you going to do? How do you detect? Just go inside. If you have a target, shake it together, bubble it, and then use that bubble on it, on that edge, on the regulator. After you remove the regulator, just put on it, you see there's leakage. If that is not, check your pipe, the hose. If you are using this 12 kg, I'm not talking of those who are using camp. You know camp, you call it camp, all those small ones, this is 3 kg. I know everybody, most of us have it in the house. It is dangerous. Those camp gas are dangerous. As the word implies, camp gas, they are used at camps in a well-ventilated area.
He said carbon dioxide is a type of fire extinguisher that can be used in the kitchen because it is not poisonous, unlike others. He then demonstrated how it can be used.
When you spray the CO2 inside your food, if you are cooking it, you can still eat that food. You can see. You can still eat that food. It is not poisonous. I said it. This normally adds to your age. It will increase your age limit. So, one more time. So it is not poisonous. That means you can spray to your food and eat it. But please don't try others. You can only try CO2. You know the nozzle is different. You can see the nozzle CO2, that is a long one, 5 kg. This one is 3 kg. They normally have nozzle. This nozzle is different from others. Others are like hose pipes, hose. So please, I think don't use this if you don't go put your mouth to they are poisonous. Only use, you can put, when you spray this CO2 in your food, any food, just eat it. You are free. So, now, how do you use this fire extinguisher? Now, go to the pass, you call it pass. Pass. You pull the pin. You pull this pin. There's a pin here. You pull it. You know, this is a pin. You have a C as well here. You just pull this pin. Now, the aim at the objects. You aim at the objects. Now the squeeze, then the S is from side by side. Left to right. That's how we do it.
Mr. Adefala said it is important that children are taught on how to use fire extinguishers. He also talked on the proper placement of fire extinguishers in designated locations and the importance of knowing the status of workable fire extinguishers, among others.
I would urge all of us to try to train your kids on how to make use of fire extinguisher. Tell them the purpose and what is being used for. Even the one they cap, tell them this thing is used for. You know, all these children are very inquisitive. They'll just ask you. That is the reason you have. Everybody, even if you are not a car, you must have fire extinguisher. Because if fire does not stop, outside does not stop you, trace or road safety will stop you. Even police will ask you. Police has not his job. Where is your tire? Where is your driver's license? You don't have. You have all this and I say, where is the fire extinguisher? When you just show him, he doesn't know maybe it works or it's not working. Just know that you have fire extinguisher. If he not see you anywhere to catch you, you just go to your tire. Tire is lacking. Put it lack. So you will change here, you will be fine. So let us have fire extinguisher at home, and we've said it. If you can have CO2 in your kitchen, but not inside your kitchen, put it before the entrance of the kitchen. 3 meters. You know, as if you have a door, put it before you enter the kitchen, or you can or in front, so that you can have access to it. Before you enter the door of the kitchen, just put it, hang it by the side.
Inside the house or outside the house?
Inside the house, CO2. That is CO2. At the entrance of the kitchen. Just leave like 3 feet before the entrance. Just hang it there, place it there. But DCP, you can put your generator house, put it outside, but don't put it under the sun light. Because when the sun and water start hitting it, it will be cake. It might even show you a sign of it's working. There's a sign here. There's a gauge in DCP and others. It has a gauge, but CO does not have a gauge. Go to the slide of fire extinguishers. You know, that's a gauge. A gauge. There's a gauge. When it's active, there's a mark, green. You have red, green, and a red, green, and green. Once the arrow is on green, it tells you that the fire extinguisher is working. But once the arrow passes, because you have recharge and overcharge. But when it's overcharged, please, it's dangerous because it can also explode. Now, make sure that your fire extinguisher are serviced twice a year, every 6 months. I think we have 23/8/2022. Just add 15 years to that 2022. Assuming you bought that cylinder 23/8/2022, just add 15 years to that 2022. That means it will expire as 2037. That's when it expires. And once it expires, please don't throw it in your dustbin because Aboki will go and pick it and paint it and sell it in the market.
The highlight of the sensitization program was the demonstration session.
Candle of combustion. We have fuel, we apply it, and we have oxygen present. Now, they want to use fire blankets to cover to eliminate fire. The first thing we go to this is what? First of all, check what you are using. We have an officer to be checking your fire extinguisher in your corridors. Maybe they are still active. If it's active, you will see the arrow pointed at the green point, showing that it is okay. And it must be serviced twice a year, every 6 months. Now, if the officer will not pull the pin, put it down. Pull the pin. Now, aim at the base. You squeeze, and now time to fight. It's okay.
The Director, Ogun State Fire and Safety Services, Engineer Fatai Adefala, again in an interview session with Giant Strides crew, appreciated the Ogun State government for repositioning Ogun State Fire and Safety Services.
First of all, I will appreciate His Excellency, President Abeokuta, the MFR, for his job well done for repositioning Ogun State Fire Service as of today. He has done wonderfully well. Now, when he came on board, he made sure that he organized an emergency line for us. And all those on the emergency line, we have the fire service are there, the road safety are there, the trace are there, the ambulance services, the out, they are also there, and the police are also there. We work together. We have a toll-free line 112 that wants to call the line. It won't charge you. It is a toll-free, and you can get across to any emergency responders you want. And we also have other lines in other stations. We have 10 fire stations as of today. We have one in Abeokuta. We have two in Abeokuta, one in Nkoko, one is in Ejemo. We have one in Shagamu, we have one in Ijebu-Igbo, Isheri. We also have in Ilaro, Ayetoro, Ipokia, and Ota. But with the assistance of His Excellency, we also add 4 new ultra-modern fire stations. I'll call it the ultra-modern fire station because it has all the facilities. And it has all the stations new built in Isheri, Mowe, Ifo, and Agbara. And also, it purchased a fantastic, and I'll call it a machine, fire tender. And it is brand new 2021 model. So he has done that for the state, and he also purchased firefighting equipment that we are using as of today.